1, 2, 3, 4. Something's missing here. Quick backstory on why am I replacing the hub on my 2016 i3. Back in January of 24, I had the typical symptoms of a bad wheel bearing going out. The vibrations, that humming, that loud intrusive sound that's in the cabin. So in the middle of January, I get some time, weather kind of broke, I got stuff out, jacked the car up, and I gave it the shakedown, the north and south, the east and the west, and the tire was tight, the suspension was tight. I looked at the CV axle, looking to see if there was any play, maybe something was wrapped around the shaft and it was hitting the frame. Maybe that's what it was. I saw nothing. Okay, I have a bad wheel bearing. So I ordered the parts, the wheel bearing and the bolts in January. Fast forward to February, and this bearing is getting worse. And now I'm getting kind of concerned because I drive 600 miles a week and I don't want this wheel bearing to shred and I lose a wheel on the highway. So I drive it mostly around town. And now it got to the point where I could feel something was loose. I'd hit on the accelerator and I could feel it push and I let go and I could feel something moving around. It was all in the ass end. Then I had the passenger window down, and when you're driving like in the city, you can hear the sound bounce off the curb. I could hear something rattling right here. So it confirmed it was on this side. And at this point I already ordered the wheel bearing and already had the stuff. I was just waiting on the weather to break, because I really didn't know what I was going to get into tearing this wheel bearing apart. And my previous experience, looking at you, Mr. Flex, the wheel bearing was a pain in the ass to do, and I didn't want to do that in cold weather. End of February gets here, I finish my dash, and I look down, and I see a gap between the rim and the rotor. And I thought, well, that wasn't like that a week ago. What the hell happened? Pull everything out of the shed, jack the car up, do the shakedown. This time, the rim moves. My heart sank. Really? So I get my small impact out. That impact won't take the bolts off. Get the big impact out, and I break the bolt. First one I go to remove, it breaks. Damn it. So then I get the other 4 bolts out, and I get the rim realigned, recentered, put them back in, torque them back down to 103 foot-pounds. And I thought, that was my whole sound. That was the whole cause of it, was a loose rim. But I had checked it. It wasn't loose. I checked it the month prior. It wasn't loose. Sure enough, quick romp around the block. It was smooth. No more sound. So at this point, I'm already frustrated. It's the end of February. I missed the window to return the hub and any of the other hardware. So now I eat the cost of $300. But now I have a broken stud, and I'm missing the stud. So now I'm driving around on 4 bolts, not 5. So I keep driving around, no other issues, drives just fine. But in the back of my mind, I don't want the extra stress on the other bolts. When I did take my winter tire off and put my all-season tire back on, I had noticed that I couldn't hand start the lug bolts into the thread. And I thought, well, I'll buy new bolts from BMW. So I went and I did that, and I thought, I'll just drill out the bolt, the broken piece. Well, those are probably carbide steel. I ain't gonna be drilled out that easy. And if I do get in it with a drill bit, I might screw up the threads, and then I'll have to rechase the threads. It was at that point that I convinced myself that replacing the hub was a much easier solution than trying to drill out the broken bolt. And this project did not go as I expected it to go. Let's get into it. So before I go tearing this apart, I'm gonna pull this cap off and see if I can break this axle nut loose. Wow, I really need to do brakes. I believe these are original brakes to the car. That's not today's project. Today's project is fixing this hub, probably. I think this is a size 17 axle nut. So this is a size 17 hex. I'm gonna use this breaker bar to see if I can't break this loose. Oh! Does it not go this way? Oh! Okay, so it's moving, which is one of two things. One, the bolt broke. Oh, please don't be broke. Or two, the bolt actually is loose. If this bolt breaks, it means the other half is in this CV axle, and this project just got a whole lot more complicated. Oh, the bolt didn't break. So with this section removed, I want to go and remove this caliper here and see what else I need to do to get to this bearing. All right, per the procedure of BMW, we got to remove the caliper. And we do that by removing the spring that's right here. Okay, how do I remove this spring? This is my first time working on something like this, so how does this... BMW directions don't say how to remove this spring. They just say you need to remove the spring. Oh. Okay, listen. Well, that was pretty straightforward. And then the caliper pins are right here where my thumb is at. Remove these caps. And that is a 6 hex bolt. Make sure your hands are not in any way of being smashed. I wonder if this rotor comes off without taking the carrier bracket off for the caliper. I'm wondering. Give me back my socket. What? We just started this project and we're already... What am I missing? What the heck? Give me back my socket. What am I missing? What? Don't be like a Ford. Don't be a pain in my ass. Now wait a minute. Why was it? What? Okay, that's kind of annoying. Oh, is it really a 6? Oh, well, I lied. They were a 7. Okay, so don't believe everything you read online. Uh-oh, this might be a challenge. Yes, because the caliper is need to add a 1/4 inch extension to one of my things to get. So I'm going to try the universal here to give me some extra length and a different saw ratchet. Let's see if that will allow me to get where I need to go. I also probably need to have better quality. Oh, it's a Black & Decker, that's why. Something tells me this ratchet is junk. There we go. Boy, you're gonna want an extension right here because this control arm or this trailing arm is gonna be in your way. So you're gonna push it back here where my hand's at. Okay. Am I removed? Yeah, it looks like I am. Is this pushed through? Yep, okay, okay. Now, I didn't see anything in BMW's instructions about special things to remove this caliper other than to be aware of your brake sensor right here. And that's it. So I'm going to free that up by giving me some slack from, there's a little tab back here where my hand's at. It just, like a little fold out cover. See this right here? Just remove that. And then this caliper should pop off. Make sure these slide screws, or these slide pins, are all the way out of the carrier bracket. You know, I have to say, that's actually a pretty damn easy brake job, or it looks to be an easy brake job. If that's all I gotta do. Now, come on. I don't know what it's caught on. So careful as you pull this out. Oh. That you pay attention to your brake sensor cable. If you're replacing the brakes, it ain't gonna matter. But these are my original brakes on this car. And I bought this car with 25,000 miles on it. And I'm at 130,000 now. So that actually doesn't look too bad. That looks to be a very simple job. Okay, listen. Do you have to be a pain right now? We'll just gingerly set that there. This brake rotor is held in with this set screw right here. Is this a 7? Is BMW consistent? No. That was wishful thinking. So is this a 6? Oh, that's a 6. Nope, that's not the right ratchet. All right. So let's see if this set screw comes out easy. Oh. Well, I'll be damned. That came out without... Did that break? Did that really break inside there? No? Just a very short screw. Now, living here in the north, we have this experience where the rotor rust welds to the hub face. So I'm wondering, is this rust welded to this hub or not? Are you serious? Can I remove this rotor without removing this carrier bracket? Holy shit. Are you... Oh. Now that, looking forward to a brake job, that looks pretty easy. Okay. Ooh, and the back of that rotor is pretty shot. I do need brakes, but that's not today's project. Today's project is this hub. Now the rotor's removed, I know this comes off too. Now we got 4 bolts right here. They're T60. Let's see if I can crack those loose and see if this hub's gonna pop out or if it's gonna be a pain in my ass. Okay, so now you're repositioned here and it's really a tight area in here. So you can see my hand right here. This is a CV axle. Here's a shock. There's 4 T60 bolts back in this cavity that I have to get loose in order to get this hub out. This i3 is kind of high off the ground. I don't think it's high enough. And something tells me that I'm not gonna be able to get this ratchet up in there without an extension, so might as well just go get an extension now. Let's see, where does this put me? No. Well, okay. So right there's the socket. Right here's the extension. This is where I'm at. I actually might try and do this up here. Let's see if I come in this way. And use would you believe me if this bolt's actually moving on my side? So it also looks like right here's the ratchet. You don't have a lot of clearance right here to get a power tool up in here either. So with that limited clearance, you're gonna be doing what I'm doing with the ratchet. which is really gonna make this a challenge. Can I loosen this by hand? Not yet, but at least it's... Well, this is gonna be very annoying. And getting a torque wrench in there to torque this up to spec, that's gonna be a whole nother challenge as well. Maybe if you're on a lift and you have more vertical clearance right here, it might not be that bad. But I am not on a lift. I am on the ground because I'm DIY. I have had enough of stuff falling in my head though. So removing the extension did not, ouch. This is just one bolt. There's 3 more to go. Yeah, we're gonna need that extension. Is this hand? Oh, there we go. Well, that looks pretty straightforward, but it is in a very confined area here. This does not... Give me the bolt, BMW. Come on. Why do you gotta make it complicated? Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty straightforward. 1 down, 7 more to go. Now that was the one closest to the doors, or furthest from you. There's 1 more that's closer to you. That's right here, where my hand's at. And that's the other bottom one. Now this one looks like I've got a little bit more play, or room, I should say, between where I'm, oh my gosh. The shock's in my way, so I can't really get my hand around there. You know, finding the hole backwards is almost like being drunk here. Oh, come on. There we go, okay. Oh. And it broke free, and the bolt did not break. This one is coming out much easier than the other one, mainly because it's further back and there's more horizontal room this way to get my ratchet in here. I am curious to see how the top is gonna go. Am I through the hub? No. Is it hand tight? Ooh, it's hand tight. Oh, I broke the rubber. That's never a good thing. Holy crap. I don't know if I like this design of everything is just smashed in there and there's no way to get to it. Maybe if you're on a lift, it'd be easier. Well, working on a car on a lift is way easier than this. But this CD axle boot's in my way. Like, holy crap. Where is this bolt? Am I... I can't even get my hand up in there. Jesus. Okay. Now, the top 2, which should be repeat this process all over again. There's that one. This might be, we're gonna need a bigger socket because the shock right here is in the way, and BMW's directions do not say to remove this shock. Although it might be beneficial because it might free up some room for you. So now we have a bigger extension here. The question is, does it help? kind of. The CV axle's in the way. And no, it doesn't help. Because now, with the CV axle in the way and the wrench right here, there's nowhere to really move this caliper out of my way then. Making sure not to drop a brake pad and cut that wire. Oh, that'd be bad. So I'm just gonna set it right here on the carrier and then slide my wrench in right here. Torquing this down though, that's gonna be a challenge. Because my breaker bar, or my torque wrench, I don't know how I'm gonna get a torque wrench in here to torque this down to spec. And I just realized I am between the parking brake cable and the brake hose itself. Yay! All right, that sounds like it's out. Okay, this is becoming a complicated project here. What am I calling on? Oh, well that came out easier than the bottom two did. One more of these guys left. We're up here on the top side of the screen, and I think I'm gonna try and go this way with the ratchet, and see if that will help pushing up to break the torque. He-Man Woman Hater Club here. Oh, there we go. I do have to say, aside from it being a contortionist to get in here to get these bolts out, this hasn't really been much of a fight. Oh, it slipped out. I gotta find a way to put it back in. Oh, there we go. It's too long. I keep falling out. What if downsize to something a little bit more manageable? Well, that was a short-lived idea. The shock's in my way. Really starting to think removing the shock, even though it's not required in the procedure, might be beneficial of giving you more room. Well, that came out pretty easy. Oh, there's the fourth one. All right, let me come back to the front. All right, let's readjust this caliper and this annoying brake pad here, somewhere where it don't fall off. Move our crusty rusty bolt here, and now just see if it moves. Small hammer, see if it comes off. Holy shnikes. Ha 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 ha! I have to say, I'm impressed. I'm gonna wire brush and clean this up. Oh, there's a speed sensor. So when you're removing this hub, be careful you don't clip that. But I'm actually impressed, BMW. I'm really impressed. That came apart far easier than other hubs that I've done. Looking at you, Mr. Flex. forced me to buy brand new spindles because the hubs wouldn't come out. In BMW's directions, they state not to make sure the back of the hub in this mating area is nice and clean. And judging by how easy this old hub came off, I'm inclined to follow the directions. However, I might put some anti-seize right here on the very edge, on this beveled edge. So looking at this right here, my pinky's in, this face right here sits against the knuckle right here. And then we have this little ledge right here where my thumbnail's at, and then it drips down. So I'm gonna put some anti-seize right here where my index finger's at, and right here where it bolts to the knuckle. So on this knuckle then, just a little bit's all I need, just a bit. I'm gonna put some right here at the very edge. So in BMW's directions, they want you to pay close attention to how this hub goes there. You see how this has splines right here? There's splines right there. You want to make sure that this hub is, the splines are locked in there. So I'm just making sure everything, the holes are aligned and it's sitting on there straight and flush, not crooked like on, oh, see, this might be a challenge. But I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any final steps between putting this hub on and that's, they call this a, is this gonna come back off? Yeah. So BMW calls this a spur gear, and their directions were saying pay very close attention that when you put this on, it's locked in that spur gear, or the spur gear, the teeth are locked together so that you can't rotate this. But I thought it should sit flush. There's a little gap right here where my finger's at. I wonder if the bolts will pull the hub to the knuckle. In the directions, they say once you have it on, you can use the spring screw to hold the knuckle on, or to hold the bearing on. You just manually tighten this to hold it, and then you shimmy this back and forth, making sure that the spur teeth are interlocked. And then we torque these down. But it's like 37 foot-pounds. It's not a lot. I mean, this isn't really a SUV kind of thing. My shaft is too big. We need a smaller one. We're going in confined areas here. Around the brake caliper. Up and over. Ouch. And I gotta find the hole. This might be easy to do with the brake caliper not in my way. Okay, let's move this again to where, oh, no, not there. Holy lorsh. Sit there. Now, let's reach around without, everything's, holy crud. Everything is really in my way. Okay. Oh, now I see what the issue is, huh? BMW also does not state a torque pattern to torque those bolts down. I found the hole. I pulled out too soon. Now I can't put it back in. Oh, feel it around. Feel it. There we go. It does in the directions say to replace these, but the ones I took out don't really look half bad. I don't know if they are a torque to yield bolt or not. Does not say in BMW's directions. In BMW's directions, they don't state if these bolts, the hub to the knuckle, get torqued first, or the hub to the CV axle get torqued first. It doesn't say that. Nor does it say if the vehicle has to be under load when you torque this bolt down. It doesn't give that kind of direction. interesting. Just twist it around till you get it in. There we go. So I'm gonna go and do this by feel, and I'm going to crisscross tightening them down, even though BMW's directions do not give a torque sequence. So I just did it by feel. I didn't really crank on it. And as I torqued it down, the gap that I had between the little gap between the hub and the knuckle, the bolts drew the hub closer to the knuckle. Looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm gonna get the torque spec for this bolt and torque it down. So after some confusion and some research, and I'm quickly running out of daylight here, in BMW's procedure, torquing these bolts down, the bolts that connect the hub to the knuckle, it says follow torque, tightening torque 2AZ. And it says, important note, consider the assessment of the wheel bearing collar screw. It is possible that the wheel bearing with a thread M12 1.5 or M12 1.25 has been installed, but it doesn't tell you how you know. And that torque in table 2AZ, shown here on the screen, it shows the M12 with 1.5, you tighten to 80 Newton meters, which is like 60 foot-pounds. And then you do an angle rotation of plus 90 degrees. If it's the M12 1.25, you do 120 Newton meters, which is 88 pounds, plus 90 degrees. But I don't know which ones those are. 88 pounds. So I'm just gonna torque them down. I don't know which ones they are. And researching online these screws that I thought that I got, the bolts, it doesn't say. Nothing says if it's M12. The only thing I found is this bolt here is an M16, and per BMW's procedure in the table, it says follow 1A, and that goes to 50 Newton meters, which this is like 37 foot-pounds, plus 155 degree angle rotation. Okay. So, I'm running out of daylight, and these are torqued, so I'm gonna go and then like really see if I can't really torque it down. YouTube on that one, I don't really know. I'm sorry, but I don't really have an answer on that as to which is the right one to go with. I don't even have an angled torque wrench to begin with. And 155 degrees, well, that's 90, that's 180. So you're going almost full circle again. I'm sorry, YouTube, I don't know on this one. I legit don't know. But I'm going to... It is my car, so I have that going for me, I suppose. But I like to do shit right. God damn it! I think my patience is wearing thin on this now. I'm gonna see if I can't really torque this down. Okay, so that one went good. The thing is I don't want to over torque it and either strip that bolt or break that bolt. What the hell am I doing? All right, I'm like, oh, I'm done fighting that. By all means, I am definitely done fighting that. Okay, so this was an M17, is that what it was? Well, I could just hand thread that all the way in there. Yeah. So if I go here, so there I'm stopped. This is my circle. This is my radius right here. Here is 90. Here would be 180, and I need to go 155. So, like right here is where it's gonna stop. I don't have an angle torque wrench, an angle finder. I don't think it's gonna go that far. Ooh, no, it definitely is not gonna go that far. That was not even 90 degrees. That might have been 90. I doubt that was 90. So let's go right here and go 90 would be like right here. No. Yeah, 90 would be like right here. 180 is right here. So I need to go. I don't even think I did all that. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna go anymore. I set this to 60 foot-pounds and it clicks at 60 foot-pounds. This is at 60 then. And that, I don't know, YouTube. I don't know if I did this correctly per BMW's procedure, but I'm gonna put this back together and take it for a rip and see if there's any drivability issues. I'll put this back here. Ouch. I am gonna put my rotor back on. Put a little bit of anti-seize around this new face here to make this brake change a little easier when I do it. I'm gonna pick this rotor up. Oops. And I don't know if it's really worth cleaning this, but I'm gonna give it a try. So apparently we're gonna watch the edge of this hub because I didn't remove this brake caliper or the carrier bracket here. I don't want this anti-seize going on the inside face of this hub or of this rotor. So that's gonna be kind of fun to do, to make sure I get it on there without. Now I gotta find all 6 holes. 2, 4, yeah. Where you at, little guy? I think there we are. And I'm just gonna put this screw back in. Make sure my rotor's clean. And then I put my caliper bracket back on, or the caliper with its brake pads. This is gonna be a pain to deal with. Yeah, this is really gonna be a pain to deal with. So these probably, at least it's an EV and doesn't really use its brakes. It uses regen braking. Huh. Oh, okay. That goes down easy. Then all I gotta do is ratchet this into place. It's not using the junk ratchet. We need to throw that one away. That seems to be it with that one. Oh, I gotta do the bottom one. Need to pick up a 1/4-inch extension when I'm at the store again. You little son of a... Well, those screws just stopped instantly. There's like no going before or after. They just bottom out and that's pretty much it. The caps, and folks, that's it. I'm done. This project is done. Oh, I need this spring on there. And I gotta make sure to put this cable back through its little home here. I think that's just where that goes. The cap's on, and that is it. Done, which is good because I'm out of daylight. Oh, before I forget, I need to snap this into place too. This should just go push against these ears right there on the edge. Should push in the middle and clip into place. Hey! The project is done. It's been a couple weeks. I had about 2,000 miles on this, and it did not go as I expected, because I was expecting an 8-year-old car with north of 130,000 miles to fight me every damn step of the way. But Did you see how easy it came apart? No broken bolts, no rounded bolts, no PB blaster, no torch, no power tools. Just simple hand tools. And it came apart. A simple tap of the hammer and the hub fell off the knuckle. I thought I was gonna be out here fighting all damn night, and that's not what happened. I was really impressed at how easy it came apart. Now, the reassembly is where things kind of went off the rails, and there's two parts to that. Partly my fault, and the other part is BMW's fault. My fault is I am a DIY person. I am not a YouTuber mechanic. And part of doing DIY stuff is when you're focused on a project, you tend to get tunnel vision. And that's where I was at. It was the end of the night. I wanted this done, and I had tunnel vision. And I was hung up on which torque spec do I use? Because BMW is telling me M12 1.5 or M12 1.25, and they're both two different torque specs. But I don't know what torque spec I have. I don't know what bolt I have to know what torque spec I need to use. And that frustrated me. And I spent 40 minutes of valuable time, daylight, out here trying to understand what bolt did I have, when all I had to do was put everything down, take a step back, reapproach what I was doing, reread BMW's directions, and I would have picked up that the M12 1.5 or the M12 1.25 refers to the thread length of the bolt. I didn't realize that until a few days later when I was putting material together for this video. I went and got a tape measure and I measured, and sure as shit, this is 1.5. You dumbass. I could have saved myself much frustration had I just stepped back and think, oh, maybe I'm just measuring the threads and then we're good to go. You dumbass. The other part of my own fault is I took everything apart with a 1/2-inch drive ratchet. And as you saw, this area is really confined. And I was doing a lot of moving around, moving the ratchet around. I was reaching back in there, trying to get the extensions in, trying to get the T60 socket in. I think had I stepped down to a 3/8-inch drive ratchet and a 3/8-inch drive sockets and drivers, probably would have came apart much easier. And had I have a 3/8-inch drive torque wrench, probably could have torqued it, used the actual torque wrench and torqued it down to BMW's specifications. Because as you saw, I didn't even do that. I just used my ratchet because I was frustrated at the time, and I just torqued everything down and I said, to hell with it, I'm done. Now, the other end of that is BMW's directions are not exactly straightforward or organized or clear. Like my frustration of the bolt. Which bolt do I have? Well, M12 1.5 doesn't go to an i3. And these are BMW's directions specifically for the i3. So to me, that M12 1.25 should not be in the directions. It should just say torque the bolt down to this torque spec and be done. But that's their directions. There's also no direction on when you're torquing these bolts down. Is it in a crisscross pattern? Is there a specific torque sequence? None of that was actually mentioned. It's kind of up to you, the mechanic, to figure that part out. And that part frustrated me as I was going through this. Here's a few other examples. So here is the rear brake directions from BMW. It doesn't say how to remove that caliper bracket. It just says it's removed. Doesn't show you the bolts, doesn't say how to remove it, it's just removed. Be careful how you clean it. Shifting to the front, again, it doesn't tell you how to remove the bracket, but the front doesn't even tell you anything about the brake rear sensor. So it's like their directions are not exactly clear, cut, and precise that anybody can pick it up. It's kind of like you gotta have BMW previous experience to understand what they're trying to convey. So, you know, that's just my opinion, but the torque specs and the part numbers for the hub, the hub to CV axle bolt, the hub bolts to the knuckle, and in case you need new lug bolts, all of those will be in the description with their torque spec. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. For more great content, check out these two playlists right here. And if you would like to subscribe, click here. Seeing how easy this came apart, I'm kind of hopeful when I'd have to do brakes that the other 3 rotors just slide off the hub too. And when I got to do those hubs, that those hubs just slide out of that knuckle. I'm curious.